Why, hello everyone, and welcome to the stream. This is Otaku Showboat. Today is Tuesday, February 14th, 2023. It is, in fact, Valentine's Day. Hello, everyone. Welcome on this Valentine's Day. I'm actually noticing with these lights on that I need to wipe my glasses a bit. They are a little bit dusty. That's a bit better. So, how are things? We had a weekend. Of course, we had a weekend. I've done a few things in the game over the weekend. Not really much to say outside of the game from over the weekend. Trying to think. Do I have anything to catch folks up on? I don't think so. I don't think so. So, we'll go into the game. We'll go directly into the game. I'm realizing I haven't turned on the other camera for if the cats decide they want to show up. If and when. Okay, so what did we do when we last met? Last time we met, I set up Kevlar as well as optical fiber and the stuff for that. Also, I'm noticing, yeah, the frame rate is not 60 whilst I am streaming. So even though the stream is supposed to be in 60 frames, we're not quite getting that at the moment. Thank you to just this mod set being absolutely gargantuan in terms of like video memory and processing and just the amount of stuff that happens that isn't parallelized in its processing. Yeah. You know what I want for Factorio 2? If there's another Factorio, like number one top of list is parallelization of the main logic. Much better parallelization of the main logic. So, I can actually use my multiple computer cores to run the game. That would be great. Some CPU performance increases through the use of parallelization. That would be like top of list, I think, just performance for late game in particular, just to have massive bases. It's also something I am hoping for with a KSP2, Kerbal Space Program 2. I'm expecting, I would like performance increases through better usage of tactics with CPU and with memory usage. I would very much enjoy if Kerbal Space Program 2 did not have to consume multiple gigabytes of VRAM if I, say, want to have a mod that adds 4K textures. Biggest problem with Kerbal Space Program 1 is you can't install too particularly many mods for it, of the like larger mods that add like planets and even entire planetary systems, even though they exist and they are compatible with each other, because you'll run into VRAM issues. You won't have enough VRAM, and the loading is like insanely long when you do stuff like that. It's just, yeah, it gets really pretty bad. It gets pretty bad. I would like to do all of that on KSP2 without performance problems. That would be great. Speaking of which, KSP2 is supposed to be out, like, what, the 26th? What was the date? 24, 26? Something like that. In the 20s, I thought. When is that? When is that? Feb 24. It is unfortunately going to be like $49.99 at release, with an intention that it will go up by the time it officially releases. Which I find to be a bit much. It's a It's a bit much, frankly. And they have it like hidden on the store page somewhere. Where did they write this? Where did they write this on this page? Have they removed it? Oh. Or was it in... Oh, it's in their early access blurb. Yeah, so on the like info box for early access, they have an FAQ, and in that FAQ they say that the intended price at release in early access is $49.99. And I'm like, when at the release of early access, it is essentially going to be a re-release of KSP1 in terms of like the system that's going to be available to explore. It's going to be a rehashing of KSP1 without even having science mode or career mode or any of that added into the game. It won't have any of the new features that are going to eventually come to KSP2, like any of the colonization stuff, any of the interstellar stuff. None of these things are going to be available at the very beginning. It's going to have fewer features than KSP1. It's just new engine, new graphics, new like building mechanics, some procedural part generation stuff, but $49.99? Don't know. I think they are asking a little much. I think they are asking a little much. So we set up this last time. What is happening here? Why are you dead? Why are you dead? Why you no movie? Why you no movie? Who be this? Who be this? Who what you miss? What you miss? Benzene. Benzene. What you problem? What's the you problem here? No light oil, period? What's the you problem here? You have tar. You have... Oh. Right. Cough. Hack. Wheeze. This is not the building that vents aromatics. This is not the building that gets rid of aromatics. It is the sinkhole that gets rid of aromatics. So I need to redo that. Didn't even notice. Down here we have the optical fiber that we made. I set that up after getting the Kevlar done and after setting up cladded cores. The cladded cores sit on their own. It's also not moving. Because... why? Because of the nitrobenzene that I am on my way to take care of now. But anyway, between streams, I've done a few things. A few, shall we say, mega builds of some stuff that we've already done in particular. I will note here that I am producing lard, additional lard, and putting it onto the train network through trits. Through trits in here. I increased the scale on the trit slaughtering and shoved down bones and brains to convert those into additional lard. Because, yeah, in actuality, trits do produce quite a bit of lard if you also convert their brain and their bones into additional lard. So that's a thing if I need lard for whatever reason. If I happen to have a need for, say, oleochemicals, to make something down the line, I will have the things. I will have the things. I have been joined by an Ollie. Hello. Hello, Ollie. How's the Ollie? He's big boy. Yes, he is. He's pretty boy. Yeah, let's get that camera sorted a little bit better. There we go. That's my Ollie. That's the Ollie. Hello, big boy. Yes, hello, big boy. Big boy can be embiggened. Embiggen the boy. There we go. There's the boy. That's the Ollie. Okay. I'm here to fix this thingy. Yikes. Die. Die, aromatics, die! Okay. We're good on that. Hallelujah. Moving on. So I have all that set up with the lard now. I've also went to my moly. I went to molybdenum, and I am mining more molybdenum. I am mining 75 per second now. I've doubled, in fact, more than doubled the mining, actually. So I now have moly put onto the train network to the tune of 75 items per second in total of molybdenum ore. I've done this specifically because I will need molybdenum ore for making formaldehyde going forward. I want to transition my formaldehyde production to a recipe that uses molybdenum ore. I will also use molybdenum ore in the production of cermet. Cermet is moly, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, cermet is moly. Cermet is also lubricant. It's also lubricant. And there are two ways in which I can make lubricant because, of course, Pyanodon has removed the vanilla heavy oil to lubricant recipe. That doesn't exist anymore. So the options are to make it out of fish oil plus ash, 1-to-1 fish oil into lubricant, or make olefins and oleochemicals, which would cost Nexolite as well as nichrome with a bunch of lard. Now, I've made the plan here. Clearly, the idea is lard for this and to do this way. But I will note that I've also scaled my fish. I've scaled my fish up here in this factory with like 21 requester stations. Yeah, so this fish factory produces fish through the deluxe fish food recipe, which it's a little bit odd that you get a fish recipe that uses deluxe fish food, and yet it doesn't get a fish egg recipe that uses deluxe fish food at the same time. Little awkward, but hey, it's actually decent output for the costs. These numbers in total across all of these inputs in here are not particularly extreme. They're not that extreme. It's just there's a lot of them. Like the highest thing here is seaweed of all of these like parts and things. The most is the seaweed, and the seaweed is free. Seaweed is water and power, and that is it. So with that being essentially free, and with other like creature part things just being byproducts mostly that we can subsist on, it's actually pretty cheap in terms of like the volume of each individual item. This is exactly how I expect the creature recipes to be designed on the whole. I expect the basic recipes to use a lot of fewer ingredients, and I expect the more advanced recipes to use a little of a lot of ingredients. Unfortunately, this is not the case with everything, and a lot of other recipes need to be adjusted to be more like this with the alien life stuff in general. Because there are an obnoxious number of recipes that are not adjusting properly the initial inputs into the system in the more advanced recipes, where it's simply been a matter of, oh, we're going to add this ingredient and slightly up the output without any consideration to the actual amount of the input of the previous steps into the system. Like, no, reduce the inputs from the previous steps while also adding more inputs and increasing output. Because there are far, far, far too many creatures where the input volume is excessively large. And it's a lot of inputs. We should not have both an excessive volume and an excessive number of inputs at any point. So, yeah. Hi, good morning. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am ranting, as per usual. Hello, Ollie. He has brought his blue bug. He has brought the blue insect. The blue insect is here. He's brought it up. So fish is in a good state. I will say that fish is in a very, 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 very good state. It is nice. It is kind. It's okay. It's okay. I could make more of it. I could double it and be good. It's great. I enjoy the fish. What else have I done in between streams? Well, there's this. That's new. There's this. It's next to a rock hole patch. What is this? This is acetylene. This is acetylene. This is 1,500 per second of acetylene in total. It is 2 builds that each do 750. And there is room for a third if I need a third. Okay? And I added a few trains. I have a few trains on the system. It is also providing slaked lime. You want me to throw it? Go get it. Off he goes. Off he goes. This is also providing slaked lime because I figured, you know what, it's like free slaked lime if I need the acetylene anyway. So yeah, it's a thing. It's a freaking gigantic build. I hate every second of building this thing, but now that I have it, and I don't have to think about it ever again. I can copy paste it wherever I want. It's only using 2 of these 3 mining setups that I put. The third one is there in case I want to add a third setup, which I could do. Why do I need all this extra acetylene? Well, as it turns out, I happen to need more silver than I'm currently producing. So I went down here, mined 75 lead per second, which is a lot of acetylene. It's 680 some odd acetylene per second to get that full 75 out. And in the end, it makes like 1.4 something silver. I'm not joking. It makes 1.41 silver from 73.5-ish lead, effectively 75 lead. But yeah, it's a thing. That's a thing, right? I am definitely trying to avoid anything that costs silver as much as I possibly can. That means if there are alternatives that do not consume silver, I will always take them. This is relevant in the Circuit 2 build because of the antimony pulp that is used in it. I will only make as much antimony pulp 2 as I need for making heavy end-doped silicon. I will not be making a build producing antimony oxide through the full chain until after I get an upgraded... This is wet now. This is wet now. Go get it. What? You don't see it? You don't see where it went? Now my hand's all wet. Now your fur's all wet. Now you're biting. Now you're grabbing and now you're biting. Ah, da-ba, da-ba. He's got me. He's got me. Yeah, biter. Biter. Yeah, swatter. So I'm not going to do this until after I get a better process for making silver, which doesn't happen until chem science, unfortunately. That's going to be the next rather significant upgrade, actually, for being able to get into silver. So, with that said, in the end, what I will need of silver is not a ton. It's around what I'm making now, if I also include the other lead build. Because I have my lead build. I set it up so that I would overflow the lead dust from the molten lead build into silver production. So I technically have up to 2.8-ish silver getting produced right now, but that would be at the cost of all of my lead. It'll be enough, I hope. Speaking of which, I noticed with my other lead build that was based off of mining of lead that I wasn't actually mining 75 lead for that build that I built to be capable of processing 75 lead over here. So yeah, oops. I built the thing to be able to process 75, but I only actually mined like 30 or 15, something like that. It was not the full 75. So I actually had far less silver than I thought I did. Now I have more of all of those things. It is glorious. Over here. Over yonder. So I have added a build for methanol of 1,000 methanol per second from coal, raw coal, directly. It makes syngas and then syngas into methanol. Technically speaking, there's about 500 tar that I could pull out of this if I were to overflow void the methanol. I could add like 500 tar off of this, just like I could add 1,000 tar off of this if I really wanted to. Down here, there's like 1,500 tar just sitting here if I vented the other stuff, but no, don't really need that at the moment. Clear that camera. I made that methanol for this. For this. I did this yesterday. This is 787 sulfuric acid. Ish. A little bit more, really, but it's effectively that much. This is processing 750 methanol and 750 syngas and 75 sulfur. All into acid gas, and then acid gas being processed into sulfuric acid. I am making the sulfur out of Faugi 1-to-1 atomization into sulfur. Which is over 1,000 Faugi plantations and 200 spore collectors at the cost of 8 raw coal stacks. Which, you know, multiply that number by 5, and that's how much actual raw coal is being consumed. So I decided it was worth doing, considering I actually don't have that many sulfur nodes to tap into. And each sulfur mine produces 2.5 units of sulfur times 1.1 at the moment for the mining productivity bonus. So the game tells me it's 2.75 per second per mine that needs to be fed a fluid fuel through the form of a gas canister. And yeah, it's very distributed across the base. I would need 75 for a build like this, and 75 divided by 2.75, that's a lot of nodes on a lot of separate locations on a lot of trains, leading to a lot of train traffic to try to even remotely support that 75. So ultimately I decided it would be in my best interest to make it local. Now, of course, there is the intended way of cadaveric aurum, or cadaveric aurum. The issue with the cadaveric aurum is 1,262 buildings. It's doable, yes. I can make the stone wool, that is not the problem. I can make the coal gas, that is not the problem. And I think even if you considered the entire infrastructure of the other build, which of course would need the 750 syngas and the 750 methanol, which is also 750 syngas, if you compare the infrastructure of that, which would be this whole thing plus this and one of these, so this plus this, I think that this would be overall fewer buildings. Because it's 1423 plus 157 plus the other stuff for the methanol and the syngas, compared to 1497 total. The problem is that this is new, right? This is new. I would need to produce net aurum for a very long time until I had 5,000 aurum modules to fill out the build. And I wouldn't be forced to do this weird number. I would want to do 1,000 per second, clearly, not 787, but still. These buildings have a size. Let me compare building size. These buildings are larger than the Fawagi plantations. It would take up more space than the Fawagi plantations. I would need 217 nurseries and a lot of logistical shenaniganery. So rather than make something new, I decided to use a process that I've already done, and that is the end of that. There is a actual choice to be made on how you want to make sulfuric acid. It's actually it's an okay choice, but I still wish that it was obvious that this would be better. I do wish that this was a little bit more, like, intentional. This is what you must be doing for sulfuric acid, and it's not like that currently. There's no real major incentive for me to do cadaveric aurum for sulfuric acid at the moment. It just doesn't output enough. This is too large of a build, frankly. I think both of these builds are way too large for the sulfuric acid output. I should not need this many buildings. I should not need that many cadaveric aurum. However, on the other hand, at this current technology level, I am making Mark II Fawagi. I'm not making much. I'm not even making this 1 per second at this moment in time. I'm considering making a 1 per second build at minimum. The issue, of course, being that I would need over 10,000 modules at Mark II. That is the issue. We would go from 1,072 buildings to half plus one ish 536 buildings, which would be 10,720 Fawagi Mark IIs. And that would make this build, I think, smaller. It would be smaller than the other build with the cadaveric worm, definitely. So tech for tech, if I was using the modules I have access to at this technology level, this is better than Aurum, and it should not be better than Aurum. Aurum should be better than what it is. So, that's that rant. That's that part done, I hope. What else have I done between streams that I haven't mentioned yet? I've talked about the moly, the acetylene, the silver, the fish, the methanol, the acid, and that leaves what I've left at the this morning, what I've done, which is tar quenching. Oh boy, I have done tar quenching. Why? Because I happened to be lacking on saline water, and I happen to be needing tailings. I need tailings. I need lots and lots and lots of tailings. It's, yeah, it is most definitely required going forward. I need lots and lots of things. So this build over here, it's processing 2,000 tar per second into 2,000 tailings and 1,000 saline water, as well as a little bit of gold. Each one of these produces 4 soot per second. So in total, about 8 soot per second. And it is a... what is it? A 50% chance of processing 10 units into a unit of gold. So it's less than 1 gold, but it's existent gold. Remember that I need gold to make modules. I need gold for module contacts, in particular, with Bob's modules. So when I get Circuit 2s, I will have access to the modules that I can make, since I will have the gold to make them. I will note that gold has been moved to blue science. The gold technology is now unlocked at chemical science. That is a difference that I've noticed. Gold used to be production science. It is now chem. It was moved up to be after a chemical science level chromium processing. Which, yeah, makes more sense considering this has always been a chem science tech, and then the gold processing didn't happen until purple. But since there's now an entire tech level between chem and production in the form of Pi Science Pack 3, this got moved up. Huzzah! I wonder what we're going to have to use it for. Wonder what we're using it for to get into Pi 3, huh? Because something tells me I might need gold to get into Pi 3 since it's unlocking at chem. But it will be easier once I get this access. Easier to make my modules. Okay, all of that said and done. Today, I would like to make vanadium. I have been reviewing the various aspects of the Circuit 2 chain. I have been making decisions regarding how I am going to cut this into pieces and what my intended outputs are going to be at each of these phases. I've begun this process. I was thinking about having each one of these items being a separate factory. However, I want better recipes before I really do this. It's not necessary at this moment in the game. It's not necessary until I get into the next tech level, ultimately. So, all these end products are likely still going to be made with the circuits, like the first order inputs here, the direct ingredients, except batteries, of course, and except the optical fiber. So diodes, microchips, the resistors, transistors, capacitors, inductors, MOSFETs, and the PCB2s, that'll all get made local to circuit 2s, but the wafers are separate, and the zinc acetate will be separate, the ferrite will be separate. That pulp 2 for the antimony, that's going to be separate. The cermet is going to be separate. Stuff with like the silicon carbide, that's all going to be separate. Silicon itself will be separate. Hydrogen peroxide will be separate. So, the hydrogen peroxide, my plan on the hydrogen peroxide is that I'm going to have a factory that is specifically producing hydrogen peroxide. It's going to be very small, but it will be a dedicated production providing hydrogen peroxide onto the train network, and it needs 1.2 vanadium per second to make 30 hydrogen peroxide. So, I have been researching vanadium. And it is at this point where I will say I have modified Ziffo in this current save, but I'm not going to use this process. I am not going to make them. Even though I have modified them, I am not going to make them still, because frankly, even with the modification that I made, they are still too expensive. In comparison to making these out of Zipier, or making the arthropod blood out of Zipier. So, first off, I want to mention that there is a bug with Ziffo. There is a problem with Ziffo. Even after it got updated in this most recent patch, it's still broken. What's still broken? The basic Ziffo recipes are still broken. In that, if you are using the basic recipe to make a Ziffo, and you are using the basic recipe to make a larva, under normal circumstances, you don't get your adult back. You don't get your adult back. Okay? Neither adult back. You spend 2 Ziffo to make 3 larvae. And the math works out such that if you want to make 1 Ziffo, you need 1 2/3 Ziffo to make 1. It's net negative. Oopsies. Oopsies, but you're net negative. If you're spending 2 Ziffo to make 3 larvae, and then you have an 80% chance to get 1 from 2 larvae. Like, come on. From 2 larvae, it's an 80% chance to get 1 back, and yet it costs 2 to make 3 larvae. Yeah. So, These are described as deep ocean mollusks, a giant deep ocean mollusk. I think of them more like a coral, but they're really more like a it says that they're deep sea, so they're not really a coral per se. I see them more along the lines of a shelled mollusk. Sedentary shelled mollusk is how I see these. And for the most part, on Earth, sedentary shelled mollusks live for extremely long periods of time. And they also produce an enormous amount of offspring. Yeah. They're one of those that they have no care for offspring because they're stuck where they are. They just let everything loose into the water around them, and they have external fertilization. So they end up making a lot of the larva stage, and very few survive to adulthood. Of course. That is not at all represented by these recipes. Not at all, even remotely close to being represented by these recipes. It's something that could be represented by these recipes, and it would actually introduce a more of a logistics puzzle to solve if it were to, say, output a lot of larvae in each cycle, and then you would need a lot of larvae to make a few adults, very few adults, from that huge amount of child phase, right? That's how I see this being better, like, as a better analog. As it stands, even with the change that I made to simply just return the adults, these are the costs that would be associated with making 54 arthropod blood, which, if I look at... I know I have here vanadium. I need 54 arthropod blood to make the 1.2 vanadium pentoxide. So if we look at this and we look at these costs, I would need to make a bunch of fish food. One of the reasons why I made a whole bunch of fish, but it needs all this to do that, and it needs 127 of these Ziffo pools, plus 12 reproductive complexes, and a bunch of Ziffo of a creature that I haven't made before, that I have a few individuals of sitting in my inventory, ready to go. This is better, but only 54 arthropod blood. In the alternative, we can do this, which is simpler with higher volume of inputs. With higher volume of inputs. This is in grand total to make the vanadium pentoxide, by the way, so we can ignore the iron oxide here and the stuff for the tailings dusts off of this. Down here, like the tar input down at the bottom. We can ignore tar, we can ignore iron oxide. I would need the coke, the stone, the phytoplankton, and not the urea. But I would need I would need the fish. So, overall, in my opinion, it is easier to zippier. It is easier to zippier than it is to Ziffo. Even after cheating to modify Ziffo to return the adult. which definitely says something about the balance of Zippo overall, frankly. That I would still come to a conclusion that a different creature that is not supposed to be the arthropod blood creature, that I would be inclined to choose this other alternate creature over the thing that is meant to be the arthropod blood creature is like rather disturbing, because Zippo are supposed to be the arthropod blood creature of choice, and yet it's not. It's broken. And then, of course, I should mention, yes, there are upgraded recipes for this that use blood meal. F that concept. Blood meal uses way too much treated wood overall, aka way too much creosote to justify using the upgraded recipes for Zippo. It is not justifiable in the slightest to spend frick tons of creosote making blood meal for the Zippo. Just, it's not going to happen. Not in the slightest. Just even with like the quote unquote cheating here by returning the adults at the larva phase. If I did look at the blood meal totals, which, you know, Hellmod does not like this process where you return thingies, so I have to like go down here, I have to go here, I have to cut you out, I have to move this up to there. In total, this would be 3.57 blood meal. Okay, that would be 267.8 creosote. That is over 300 tar to make that. Until you realize there's a whole bunch of other stuff that also uses blood meal that's going to consume a lot of this as well. So, yeah. Just, it's more appealing with the return of the adults, but if I didn't have the adult return, oh my god, if I didn't have the adult return, this number is like double. This is like double that amount. If the adults aren't returned. It's like, it's more, it's way more. I believe it's in the current state without the adult return on the larva on the blood meal recipes, it is net positive, but you have to actually spend more than your output. You have to make more than double the amount that you intend to get out of the system. So it'd actually be like more like 7 blood meal, which it's over 500 tar for the creosote for this, plus the cost of kick alk and the sodium hydroxide and the power for the steam and all of the blood. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. Just like with the Zapier, it's not really worth spending the basic substrate. I could make this smaller by using basic substrate. But it's way too much basic substrate. See, another issue here is they've made the process more complex without sufficiently reducing input volume. They've increased input volume and increased complexity on this recipe, which makes zero logical sense at all. Like, what the hell? That should not be 10 basic substrate on this recipe, and then it stays at 10 as you go along with each increasing recipe with increasing complexity. Like, no, that is not how that's supposed to work. It should be consistent with the other inputs. It should be 3. It should be 3. No chance I'm spending 10.39 basic substrate, because again, it's that same sort of issue here of just volume of inputs. Incubated petri dishes are too expensive to spend on this enhancement. Anyhoozle. Stuff. Things. We're going to make this today. Today, we shall do this thing. I am contemplating. I am contemplative. Because I have this build down here, which, you know, is Zippier. It is Zippier down here. I have a line of 16. I need 54 reproductive complexes. So I can rebuild this. Or I can append. I can deconstruct this and then have bespoke eggs into adults in that space. And I think that's what I'll do. And that'll get rid of my consumption here of this basic substrate. Because god dang, basic substrate's expensive at this phase of the game. It's silly how expensive the glass is on making the incubated petri dishes. It's supremely silly. Yeah, we're going to do this separate, as I said. We will not do the slaughtering separate. We are going to output the Zippier onto the trains. So we'll start with really the stone wool. I need to get this set up and going. It's unfortunate that it's more than 15 coke. So I'll have to do multiple lines, I guess. I don't know if I want to do like 22 of these in a row. Alright, I have 2.4k of Zippier, plus however many else are on the belts. But note, this system is going to use 8 fish. Gee, I wonder why I made 15 fish between streams. I wonder why I made 15 fish between streams. Yeah, I'm sure it had nothing to do with the fact that I'm about to spend 8 of it on this Zippier build. So this is that's why I made the fish. I didn't make the fish for fish oil. I made them to be fish as fish to feed Zippier for their blood and not even for their skin, which, you know, the skin Zippier are skin. They're not supposed to be the blood so much. Their main product is skin. They are the best of the best at the skin. Okay, how am I setting this up? Where am I setting this up? Here. Boop. Add a little bit more space there. Add just a bit more space, because I will need the steam as well to be below. Steam, glorious steam. Uh, 640. Okay, that's a few thingies. 50.7, I think I need one more. That should be 650, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 650, yep. Oh, that'll be enough. At least it better. Okay, lots of these. One line of 22 inbound. I am not counting. Alright, that's 20. 2. Oh yeah, the default volume of the reproductive complex has been increased, by the way, in one of the more recent updates. In case you hadn't noticed or were not aware, that was in the patch notes. There we go. Power to the everything. Okay, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do this when I know that two things... God, I have just enough space. I have just enough, and I have to use all of it. Yeah. So there's going to be a belt that goes this way. This is going to be the Coke line. The Coke line doesn't need to unstack until the 20th, or to do the next thingy until 20, but I can go ahead and do it after 11. Just half and half. Whew, boy. Yeah. Yeah, this is fun. We shall do this thing in this way. The other one with the stone needs more unstacking space, more unstacking to happen on it. So, no, wrong. After 11, buddy. There we go. Okay. That's that. I guess technically it means I don't actually need any of these underground belts, since the other thing is being done through underground belts. There we go. Ta-da! Next. As for the stone, how many before 15? Every 6. Four unstacking sets. Three, 4, 5, 6. Oh, don't you love not being able to see a damn thing? Alright. That'll do. when you have to just deconstruct the thing that's in the way to actually build what's above it, like, that's so sad. Alright, this is stone. Wish my trains luck. Being able to actually get the stone in. Oh, right. This makes 5.35 stone wool. In case you were wondering. Alright. You this way. That's not stacked, right? Oh god, damn it. It needs to be stacked. I need the stacked variant. Why do I unstack the things at the train stations? I shouldn't be unstacking the things at the train stations. Like, never should I do that, but oh well, I done it. Okay, regular old mechanical inserters for all the rest of these should be fine. Been using a lot more mechanical inserters lately, since I got the stack size increase on the inserters. They can do twice the throughput now. And you know, having them be able to do 1.2 is pretty nice. Okay. That is the stone wool. Yay. Next is the reproductive complex, which sort of sucks. It always sort of sucks setting up reproductive complex. Oh right, I need to break down the pressured water. That should be first, technically. These 6. Okay. Now we reproductive complex. And I can complain a little bit about reproductive complex and just, you know, the vanilla behavior of that stupidity. This sheer and utter stupidity. I hate this behavior. I completely despise this behavior. Ugh. Just, ugh. Yeah, I guess I can copy pretty much wholesale the thing here. And I need 54 of these. Whoops. So how many lines am I going to do? I don't even know. Because definitely cannot fit 54 on a single line. How many we got here? We've got 15. Six rows of 9. I think that's the cleanest. $18. 3 rows of 18. That I think might be easier to work with. 3 rows of 18. So this one's 15. 16, 17. How many tiles is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 tiles. That's too close. I can't do it. All right. Well, so much for that. Six rows of 9 it shall be. Yes, I seriously hate the behavior on these where it will just automatically put it into the inventory slot for the input, the ingredient input, rather than the module slot that it's supposed to be assigned to. It royally blows. This should not be using medium power poles. Oh god, I won't be able to fit everything, will I? Because this is in the way. Wonderful. There's no chance in hell I'll be able to do 6 lines of these and then have enough room for the 179 or 180 Zapier. Or will I? So note that Zapier are really small. Even if I go all the way up to the max, if I go all the way up there, I'm going to do this for spacing, just so I know how much I have to work with as I go up here. 180. I think I can fit more than 20, right? Problem is that it needs 2 tiles in between each one. And then I'm thinking about how I want to run the belt lines. Pretty sure it's going to be like this, with 2 belts on one side and 1 belt on the output on the other. So just for spacing considerations, I'll have this as designed. So it would be 9 rows of 20. Is what I'm looking at right now. So I want to see how wide 20 is. And then how much room I would need for 9 of these. Okay. So that is 20. Cannot do 30. Or, no, cannot do 40, but I could do 30. I could do 6 lines of 30. Okay. I need to place some buildings, but then I need to decide, am I going to share belts? I should, to save space. So the next line sits there with a belt of output between. Ah, stupid BS things. Four, 6. Okay. That is the space that I need on the actual Zapier. Would there be enough room then to do 6 of these? 6 of these in this much space? The answer is no. Obvious to me, but just for you as well. Let's show this. That would be 2. That would be 3. That would be 4. So the most I can fit is 4 lines. Okay, I need, what was it? It was 54, right? So 3 times 17 would leave 3 left. 3 times 16, make it a little easier. 48, 54 minus 48 is 6. So I could have 3 lines of 16 plus 6 on the 4th. So that's 9, 18, 17, 16. Okay. That's 16 lines. That's the second line. That's the third line. And then I only need 6 on the last one. There. And it all needs power, etc., but whatever. God dang. Barely enough room. Barely. Barely. That's how much of a gap I have. Oh, goodness. That's how much space I had. I should cut this whole thing and shift it down a bit. I would want this little gap to be up here, but I'll leave it. I've already been placing things, so why waste the ammo? Not gonna waste the ammo for it. Let's get going. I should have enough modules, I think, at least. I had better. This takes 1,790 modules. I wish this was like Factory Planner and it actually told me how many I have in my inventory. I have over 2,000. Okay, I have plenty. Gosh, and then all of this needs inserters. It needs power. Stuff, things. This is why I was saying I just was like Vanadium today and not anything else. Because, yeah, these builds, I talked for a while about the things that I did between streams, but also the builds themselves are pretty big. Had I actually thought about things, I would have done this between streams, but oh well. I had other big builds to work on too. Because I really needed the I needed the build for... Oh, do I just not have... Oh. Oh, well that's a shame. You know, that would help. Having the buildings. I'm trying to think how short I am on the buildings. So that's 60, 70, 80. It's 80 short, exactly. Oh well. Since I'll have to walk the... Since I will have to walk the line anyway, again, I may as well just restock before placing the rest of the, like, belt and stuff. And I have to manually place a whole bunch of stuff with modules and things. Why didn't it copy, like, the module placements? Huh. Anyway, I'll have to add the modules and I'll have to add adults into the recipe slots. More than 2. Since 2 is not enough. Don't know if you know this, but this recipe uses 3. And I'd like to have double the recipe cost in the building, so I don't have to wait for the travel time along the belts for the building to start moving. Oh boy. Glorious, beautiful stuff's there. Water in the way. So, it is unfortunate that we have to get vanadium. It's so unfortunate that they made that a required thing to get into Circuit 2s. It completely blows, but oh well, we're doing it. We're doing it. lot of people hated vanadium beforehand. I didn't really hate vanadium at all beforehand, but then again, beforehand, you only needed it when you had access to the entire vanadium processing chain. As it stands right now, at this level of science, you only go part of the way into the vanadium processing chain. And you know what? It's actually most of the way through the vanadium processing chain. It's only missing the last couple of processing steps. So it's like, really? What the hell? Why do we not have the whole thing? And yet we're stopped here like 2 steps from the end. Well, it's because they want you to make the build bigger. They want a bigger build. Clearly. They want more pain and suffering. For whatever obnoxious reason. Like part of the Ziffo issue, part of it is that you need as much as you need for it to make as much arthropod blood as you would need for the output, because we can't do the whole freaking chain. Like, if we could do the whole chain, then that would be significantly better. The thing about the whole chain, though, is that it does include a the rest of the chain includes this stuff. Yeah. And it continues processing. You know, they added this pentoxide out to this step, didn't they? Yeah. They actually added that. The vanadate stuff, it's more than just a couple steps from the end. Yeah, there's a whole acid strip solution shenaniganery. Right. With hydrogen peroxide and industrial solvent. So this got split into a couple of things, didn't it? Yeah, this has changed. Yeah, it cuts it by more than half on the blood input. Huh. Interesting stuff. I wonder if it stops here on the next process. Where's vanadium? No, you get the whole thing. Weird. Weird, and it comes directly once you get chem science. So it's like you have access to the industrial solvent already, technically. Do we have access to the industrial solvent? We do, it's unlocked. So yeah, why make the full chain like the next tech level up? It's just obnoxious when we end up getting a pulp 3 that we can't do anything with as it currently stands, right? Like, without any of the rest of the chain, we have to just dump pulp 3 for no good reason. at least have like a pulp 3 into vanadium to supplement it a little bit. Not as good as, you know, doing the full thing, but give something to do with that pulp 3 if it's gonna have to stay the way it is. Anyway, let's stop delaying the inevitable and start working on getting all of the modules and adults placed. Oh, and then the next problem I will be running into here is that for whatever reason your hand doesn't actually renew the stack that you're holding. Like, what in the world? Who thought that was a good idea? Like, hello? I have multiple stacks of this thing. Why is it not automatically pulling another stack of items automatically onto my cursor, game? Like, I want it to add to my cursor when I run out. I want to pull the next stack. So unfortunately, this process is going to take a while, since every single time I have to go into my inventory here and I have to go and pull out stuff and, you know, just repeating this 54 times. A process that I wouldn't have to do at all if I could just, Alright, you know what? Here's what we're doing. Since I already have the adults in the, Oh, I don't have all the above machines. Alright. We're going to restock. I'm going to come back. I'm going to place the remaining artificial reefs above with the module slots in them. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take... it's so dumb. I'm going to take my modules, I'm going to click drag over the buildings, over all of these buildings, and then I'll have to go and I'll have to pull out 108 and manually go each one and put the just the modules into each one. I am okay with the current frame rate being under 60, and the reason why I say that is because the point in the game at which the performance is lowest is the point before you get access to Mark II buildings, which I'll give you one guess as to where we're at in the current state of the game. Yeah, so to be clear, the specific point in the game that we are currently at is the point of peak entity volume. It is the point right before we get access to a large... I hesitate to say a large quantity, but it's right before we get to a point where we can downsize. So right after you get Mark II buildings is one of the points where you can begin to downscale a lot of your processes just by virtue of Mark II buildings often being twice the speed of Mark 1s, and unless things have changed, there are some buildings that are actually 3 times as fast as the Mark 1 buildings. At least there were, unless that's all been changed. I can think of high pressure furnaces as being one of those buildings that used to go from a speed of 0.5 to 1.5, but now it is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this has changed by BTW. This at one point has been changed from a 0.5 to 1.5, 2.5, 3.5 to a 1, 2, 3, 4 on these high pressure furnaces. Oh boy, that is the halfway point already. Dang. We are halfway through the stream. I can't believe it. So with that, I am going to take a brief break while I'm sitting here waiting on the artificial reefs to come in. When I get back, I'm going to go and I'm going to place down the remaining artificial reefs with their modules in them. Then I'll do what I said I would do. I'm going to take my modules, do a shift drag using even distribution over all of these. That will have the unfortunate effect of actually pulling modules out of the buildings and putting them into the actual inventory slots. Stupidity, why that does that with even distribution, but oh well. I will then have to go through each of the 54 buildings to add the modules to them, but that is going to be faster than placing manually 6 items into the inventory slots and the 2 modules for the 54 buildings. So with that, I will be back shortly. And I have returned. Welcome back. So, yeah, to continue that conversation, at chemical science, or by the time we get into chemical science, we will have the vast majority of the items that we need, if not all of the items that we need in order to get Mark II versions of buildings. We will still need to make neuroprocessors to get a lot of the PyAlien Life Mark II buildings, but in general, we will have access to Mark II with red belts access at that point as well, which doubles over yellow belts. So in general, all of the buildings can be twice the speed with the in place with belts. Not all of them go double, but still, effectively, the vast majority of things go double. Some things go 1.5 x rather than 2x. A lot of the Alien Life plantations only gain 50% rather than double their module slot counts. But you also get Mark II module access on top of that. So with Mark II buildings, with Mark II modules, it ends up usually being at least a 2x improvement in total, if not 2.5x versus Mark I with regular modules. So you get a rather large reduction in the number of buildings required with PyAlien Life, which is the I believe the biggest current contributor to the entity count in the base is the Alien Life stuff. And you get access to more complex, faster recipes that have higher output across the board with all of the PyAlien Life stuff, right? By the time you're getting into that phase of the game. So you're getting better recipes with higher output, you're getting better buildings that go faster, with better modules that also make the building go faster. So overall, you can really downscale the base when you get into chemical science. I will be attempting to upgrade everything as I can, yes. The downside, though, the biggest issue, though, is, well, of course, even though you have access to Mark II buildings at the start of chemical science, you have to think, do you really have what you need at that point? It's like, do you really have the ability to upgrade everything? Not immediately. It will take a very long time to accrue enough actual Mark II infrastructure to replace everything across the base. And in some cases, especially with the Py-Raw ores processing buildings, those are the buildings that don't all have a straight up ×2. So ratios change on building counts. It's not simply an in-place upgrade on a lot of the pyro stuff. So in some instances, it will necessitate a rebuild and then a deconstruction of the previous build. If and when I get around to it. So, yeah. I'm not too concerned about the current performance while I'm streaming, because bear in mind that if I am not streaming, my performance is significantly higher, since I do my streaming on the same PC as what I'm playing the game on. Cough, cough. God, I wish I had like a $2,000 to upgrade the system to be better at doing its job. But I don't, nor will I for a very, very long time. God. Yeah, it's gonna take a lot. It's gonna take a lot. I don't need a new like CPU or processor. What I want ideally is to upgrade my graphics card and add another graphics card. Essentially, I want to get one of those Intel Arc GPUs for AV1 encoding to have a dedicated encoding GPU. Whether or not it's AV1 or another codec doesn't necessarily matter, but just to have a separate dedicated graphics card to encoding and then have a better graphics card in general for the system, which yeah, apparently people want to get the A380s, but they are not officially released in the United States. They're not easy to get, those A380s, even though they are supposed to be relatively cheap. They are non-existent. And essentially, in the current state of things, if it's not on Amazon, I'm not being able to buy it. But that's one of the things that's on the, like, wish list of things I would like to get for my computer, is a dedicated encoding card. And then at some point, I also would need to upgrade my actual graphics card in the system. I have been running a 1080 Ti, an NVIDIA GTX 1080 Ti for a very long time at this point. And unfortunately, it would be rather expensive to get something that is better than what I have, which I would not be interested at all in getting something equivalent to what I have. I must get something better to justify a purchase. And ideally 2 times as better, minimum, compared to what I currently have. And unfortunately, to meet that specification, while also maintaining VRAM requirements of at least 11 gigs, which is what I currently have, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to meet those requirements. That is not a 60 level card, right? That is not a 60 level NVIDIA card. That's not even really a 70 level NVIDIA card at this point. So, yeah, we're talking at least $1,000 for the actual graphics card replacement. And then hundreds for the ARC card. I know that the A380 is supposed to be in the like 150-ish range, but can't get them. I'd have to get an A750, which that's $350. So, yeah, we're talking like $1,400, $1,500 if we include taxes on these things, just to get something improved over what I currently have. And then I don't even know. I have to look at my specifications on my motherboard, how that would even work out with the PCIe lanes of the motherboard, considering that I also have a capture card in there that I would like to keep in there and have, you know, the lanes for it to gotta maintain those PCI Express lanes. Also complicating things, I have 2 M.2 drives in there that are in use, that are also using those lanes. So that's great. Fantastic even. All right, what am I doing? I'm doing this. I'm going down. I'm scrolling to you. Oh, goodness. Plonk. 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 How do I miss these things up there? The whole point was to place those buildings. Now place those modules. Where are you? There you are. All the way over there. So yeah, if we could get like 4 people leaving max super chats or super thanks, that would be ideal. Bearing in mind I only see 70%. Or like going on to the tips page and helping out. That'd be great. No, realistically speaking, though, if anything like that were to happen, what I would end up likely doing would be paying down some debt that's on my Amazon store card, and then making whatever purchase I want off of Amazon using that. So it would still go towards a purchase of the card. It would just be more like paying debt and then adding to the debt again. Just logistically, but regardless, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen anytime soon. It's gonna take me a while to save up enough to do anything on that front. We might be having not 5,000 series, but 6 or 7,000 series RTX cards by the time I will be able to afford an upgrade to the graphics of my computer. And ideally the computer will not be ideally the current graphics card will not be dead by that point. Oh no. No. Sigh. Sigh. Alright, so what didn't get touched? Okay, buildings that didn't need to get touched, I think were the only ones. And then over here, some of these, but I think these also had already been, yeah, these had already been taken care of. Okay, good. Thank goodness. Now I just gotta go through the buildings that don't have, that have the red marker on them, add in their modules. And this will be significantly faster to do this way. And yeah, it's a bit of a it's a bit inefficient to do this in this way, but I'm doing it anyway because it's faster. Because the game is so stupid. Game is dumb. Doesn't know how to handle having modules that it accepts as well as having it in as an ingredient. Like, huh? It gets confused between having the same item as an ingredient as it does as a module within the building itself. It gets just a little confruzzled. Really? Hey, two per building. That should be everything. That should be all of them. I sure hope so. Power. Power to the everything. Excuse me? Really? You can't reach that far? You can't reach this far? Dang. There. Be free. Glorious. Beautiful stuffs. Let's get this operating to net my eggs out. I should still be looking at this. I should still be looking at this section. I mean, don't get me started on, you know, the concept of things. Because the concept of the modules existing in the first place is that they are the creatures that are doing the breeding. Or that are the herd in the actual pen itself. You know? The whole idea behind having the modules be the creature is that the recipe represents the actual, like, herd of the creature, that the creature is the building module, that you can't, that the building doesn't move unless you have a creature that's in it. So then why in the hell are you adding additional creatures as an ingredient in the first place if the modules are supposed to be the creatures that are the ones that are doing the breeding? Like, to hell with having these adults that are, like, going in and getting returned, when the whole point of having the modules in the building to begin with is that they are the things doing the breeding. Anyway. But no, then they can't kill off adults, can they? Then they can't have any adults dying. So, stuff. I need... both of these share the same, like, fish plus stone wool, right? Fish and stone wool? Yeah, thought so. Okay, so fish plus stone wool, they can share a belt line. Okay. This is the first one. There. Ta-da! Da 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 da. We've got some things going on. You over here. That there, sure. Going up. They reach. They reach. Alright. I'm glad for that. We got one more set down here, and I hope there's nothing in the way. Okay, then there's these. Oh, right, it's voiding already. Oh, come on. Move you. And void. Okay. Hook up the water. Ta-da! It's moving! I wish I had built this to do 1 per second, but I don't have the room. I really don't have the room to do 1 zip here per second, unfortunately. Not in this location. I would need to do a completely separate location to add another 15% more. Ever so slightly unfortunate. Also unfortunate is that I can't really do the vanadium like here, right? I can't do it here. There's no room. I'm not going to build it in this. I'm not going to build it in this area. So, still need trains moving it. Here? Like here? Vanadium factory? The actual vanadium factory itself is tiny, right? By comparison? By comparison, it's just this part of it. And the thingies here, chem plants. It's just this. I think I can do that in here. Biggest part's the slaughtering. The slaughtering. Up. Okay, how do I want to do this? That is always the question. Da-da. Da-dee. Oh, right. I don't need that many splits. Here? I don't think that's quite enough room. So, here's the thing. This is 19. Okay, this is 19 slaughterhouses. All the way up here, I've got this. All right, so that's 30. I need how many? 25? I need 25 slaughterhouses. Okay. So, grabbing that to 25. All right. There's your 25 slaughterhouses. All the outputs are sorted. I can redo that logistics, but just so as we're aware, that's the space for 25 slaughterhouses. I would then need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps of processing in that much space. I would need to do, let's pin that. I would then need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus logistics. So I can't really have that exact spacing. It's tight, but it just might work. Oh, right. I'm dumb. This isn't even taking this and making this. So it's another... It is another step in here. There is another step, and that's making tailings dust from tailings. But that's not the hardest part. Oh, right, and it's iron oxide. I haven't even made the iron oxide yet. Anywhere. I'll be bringing it in by train, but I'm not going to make it local. That's not going to happen. But yeah, I would need to add to the train stations. I have to do this though first. This in between. Copy. Paste. Paste. Oof, I hate that it's not connecting all the doohickeys. Oh well. Also, I need more radar. Whoops. Guess I'm walking. Also, hook it up to main power so everything that is here is powered. Ba, 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 ba. Alright, so then what I can do is I can copy, like, the whole shebang. And just walk it. Walk it down the line. And eventually I will get to around here-ish. I will plonk a radar. Then it's just a matter of copy-paste the whole dang line. A couple of times. And there you have it. this should be fine. I'll have to hook up water and the pressured water and the wastewater voiding still to this for it to begin to operate. Yeah, so for the iron oxide, that's always an incredibly dumb build, but we have to do it anyway. We'll be doing it through the nitrobenzene recipe, as per usual, because there's nothing else actually useful. There's nothing else decent, but still the nitrobenzene is not easy to get into. It is, however, the reason why I set up the sulfuric acid build in the first place. The reason why I did so much sulfuric acid is specifically because of iron oxide requirements. In fact, I will need more than just 9. I am going to be building out 30. Yeah, and 30 is going to require 150 sulfuric acid. I don't need to make it locally. I can just do this, and we will be awesome on the iron oxide front. That's going to be the build for it. It uses a belt of plates to make twice as much in oxide. It also has a bit of excess of other things. Really? Belt stuff placed still? Oh, it's the inserters. Okay. Just add water plus pressured water. Gee, I hope I left enough space for things. So the pressured water will come in from here on the sides. And it goes all the way up the lines, so I don't need to worry about it. Yeah. That's just how these buildings end up being oriented. Excuse me. That is that. That is all those. Then water. I will tack water on at the end because it's quite a bit of water. Not really. I could hook up all of the water to a single supply. So I guess I should. Just like I should also grab all of the wastewater and get all that voided at a single voiding station. I'll do it on the other side, I guess. No, I'm not gonna append on this build. Go, water, go! Excuse me? What? Oh, right, because there is a difference. Moving? Moving! It's moving! As the water slowly but surely gets added into everything. Oh, I need to place those pipes. Ah, so much for having Zapier modules to spare. Part of the point of putting them on the trains in the first place would be to have a buffer of them that I could pull from when making additional Zapier builds, but looking at this, I would rather not. And hopefully, Ziffo are going to get fixed at some point. That would be most oh. That would be most ideal, is for Ziffo to get fixed and work as they should as the primary creature involved in the production of arthropod blood. Because right now they are in a very bad state. It is atrocious. They used to be quite good, but they have been overly nerfed into absolute oblivion. And they weren't even that good specifically on the arthropod blood. They used to be really good for their shells. I used to use them for shells. Now I have no desire whatsoever to ever use them for any purpose whatsoever, which is very sad. Every creature should have something that they're good at that they that you would want to make them for. All right, this is a different recipe entirely, and they are not producing these. They don't make bone. They don't make chitin either, so that entire aspect of this logistics stuff can go away. It does make the other 5, and on a line this long, it doesn't use cages either. So on a line this long, what are these values? What does all this add up to? We've got 7.5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh god, I think that gets really close to 15. 3.3 plus 4.99 plus 2.5 plus 3.3 plus 0.84 is 14.996 repeating. So we have an exact 15 per second output. We have an exact 15 on solid outputs. That hurts so much. I want to reduce the size of this, so I'm gonna just trim that a bit. Remove. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do this. We're gonna remove the entire thingies, pipes included, from all the others, and I'm gonna do my work on this one. Okay, we can do this in 2. We can have the meat, the brain, the skin. Whoopsies. And then the guts the lard. Is that gonna work? I hope. Meat, brain, skin, guts, lard. Of course, I picked the two that have really high values. I guess that will work. That shall function. It shall be functional. And that will get repeated down these lines. Alright. Down we go. Right, I will need to void all of those things, which also would mean ideally stacking all of those things, but... whatever, I don't care anymore. I'm not gonna stack it. So I need a voiding line, which adds another step to all of this. Can't make it higher. Ta-da! Head on down. Get my blueprint grabbed for voiding. Go ahead and do that space. I need more than what can do 15 per second, particularly because we're dealing with different items. Whenever you deal with different items, you do need some extra to compensate. Oh, we have a Zippier. A Zippier is on its way. Hey, another Zippier. 2 entire Zippier. Yay. They're gonna get slotted very, very nicely. I need a solid fuel. Oh boy, good thing I've got a source of solid fuel right here already. Ta-da. That can be rotated. That positioning is fine. I need to import urea. Since I am not using this stuff anymore, urea is stacked. Okay, I will need to also bring in tailings, fluid, and iron oxide, and that should be it. Bearing in mind I don't actually have an iron oxide factory yet. That will be across the street. This will be iron oxide factory. I will also need a station for supplying vanadium. This is not defined, but oh well. It will eventually be defined. Did I put the actual request in on the urea? Like, did I actually put the icons in? On the urea? Yes, I did. Good. Good. It's on its way. It's coming. Okay, power you. Alright, that's that. That's all I need for that. You take in a couple of things. You take in acid gas. I hadn't thought of that. I'm not providing acid gas, I'm providing sulfuric acid. You know, I think I'm okay with processing a little bit more tailings into acid gas so I can do this. Okay, there's arthropod blood going into the wrong thing. Blah. There. That leads to this. No solids there, so that's fine. This is tailings dust in with water. So the next step should be the tailings dust, but we're gonna do something along those lines. I have to filter in excess tailings dust. This has to bring tailings dust in. Not you. This has to bring tailings dust in. To the tune of how much? I'm not even paying attention to the building counts here. What are the building counts? Hold on. Building counts exist. You know. I need 3 of these. Great. Power. I need how many of these? I need 2 of these. Great. Fantastic. Have some power. And then I will need 3 of these thickeners. Which, that's going to operate with a gap. I will need... I'll need a lot of throughput for each one of these. So each one of these blues is able to do 4.8 units per second because they are stack size 2. And that should bring it above 6 each on those. Just got to make sure everything is, in fact, powered and ready to go. Just add water. Glorious water. Okay, from there we need steam. Wonderful. Wonderful, glorious, beautiful steam. Yo, steam. Hi, you've got room. How many is that? 18? I need 600, I need 360 for this step, which, yeah, that should be enough. Can I shift this up a tile? Yes, I can, I should, I will. You know what? No. What I'll do here is I will do this. Okay, and then this. And then grab this, and how many of this step do I need? I need 6. Oh boy. Ah, the wonderfulness of agitators. You always need like 2 spaces between them. In nearly every recipe where they exist. From here, for the number 2, I need 3. This is fortunately not one of those ones. Ahem. Ta-da. But that just makes it easier if it's that spacing. This needs the inputs, though, up to 3 per second. Yeah. Alright. On this side you go. Where's that belt line? That's the belt line. That will be the iron oxides. No solid outputs. Makes it a little bit harder for me, but that's okay. We can do this, this, this. I need 3 on this step as well. This one is also a little bit more difficult in that I do need to have this middle get used. So same arrangement as before, just rather than steam, it also includes ammonia. The ammonia is here. And this needs to output the vanadium. Excuse me? Oh, right. Wrong. Wrong. That's correct. And that leaves you outputting a bunch of... Oh, I need a bunch of... Right. I happen to need a bunch of... Okay, how do I wanna... Oh, I wanna this. I wanna this. Actually, I wanna this. There we go. There we go. That is 24. Oh boy. Oh boy, bring the tailings in. Where are my tailings? Where are my tailings at? Hello? Did I not define the tailings request? Because I know I defined the source priority. I know I defined the source priority. It's here. Like, Humma. 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 Actually, you go there. I can do it remotely, but I'm just gonna walk up. Oh, yep. Hello. You. Down. Tailings. Come here, tailings. I need you. And then I need to do a prioritized splitter. Or need to add a priority to the splitter down here. If I haven't already. Just need to check it. I have not. Prioritize left. Output, not input. And that should be that. In the alternative, no, not any in the alternative. What am I saying? This is what it is. Just need to get the. I need a line that I can draw. I think this is the line. That is the output of the vanadium. It will not operate until I have iron oxide. We will do that next. We will do that immediately, and ideally we will be done with it before the end of the stream, within the next 27-ish minutes. Oh boy, yeah, this has taken a while, hasn't it? I thought there would be a beyond vanadium, but apparently not. I thought that we would have a beyond vanadium, but no. This of course takes the entire stream just for a small amount. Just for an infinitely small amount. Okay. Supply, depot, full cargo, circuit condition, go, define vanadium. There we go. We are done. There's the tailings going down. That'll make tailings dust plus acid gas, enough acid gas to get the system moving. Gee, wouldn't it be great if this supplied exactly the same amount of tailings dust as acid gas necessary to keep the whole system moving? But no, it doesn't. It's rather unfortunate, but oh well. But oh well. Anyway, we're getting the dust. It's going in. It's gonna process the vanabins that we are able to make now with that acid gas. We're gonna process down into the blue stuffs. We can do the blue stuffs. Oh right, am I? There was some process, yeah, here of used solvent to get more blue liquor out, and that actually saves even more on the full chain. But anyway, moving on. Next! Next! Quickly now. Do this. I hope I have enough fluid separators. Hey, my bots have been building. Speaking of which, if you haven't noticed, my construction bots are active. They are building another line to the left as well as a line above. Slowly but surely working on the next set of squares up and left. Getting closer to the extent where we are squared off around the mall. We're almost squared off around the mall. Not quite there yet, though. I still need to do 2 more sets of squares to the left and 1 more set of squares above, and then I will be squared off. So any future expansion would be radial from there. Just one tile added to the radius around the entire square, all at the same time. Oh boy. When I need to do so, because I can practically guarantee that I will be needing the I will be needing that many squares. I will by the end game need more than what I currently have in terms of square count. In terms of building count within the squares, it's probably not going to be that big, but just to keep factories separated from each other, I will likely need multiple squares spread quite far. It'll be easier with faster trains, though. So it would be nice to get into faster trains at some point. You know, that would be great. That would be ideal, even. That would be very much ideal. Okay, up here. Same as before, it's 3 of these. I can literally copy paste from you. I mean, hell, I can even just literally bring the ammonia from there to here, but no, I'm going to put in another request for ammonia. That is the opposite of what I need you to be. That'll be that. Then I've done this processing. I can do this processing again. I've done this where? I've done this here. Right here. I copy... You know, I could have copied the whole freaking thing, couldn't I? Yeah, just copy this. Just copy this. It's fine. Just copy this, place over... Just delete, copy, paste. Just stop worrying about it. But I will need more scale than what this currently has on it. Significantly more scale. Because we are going to, in fact, have double this. I don't need to overflow it anywhere. Yeah, so about this being 38 long. About this being 38 long. So that's 22, that's 33. That should be 38. I really don't like that it's, you know, just so far sticking out, but oh well. But oh well. I am doing this quickly, and to do this quickly, I've decided to be semi-inefficient with my space. I'm not gonna have a factory here, like, let's face it. I'll use the space that I have. And I'm not dealing with very high fluid throughputs anyway, and it's only fluids involved here, so I'm okay with all this as it exists currently. Noting again that I am not making just 9, I am making 30 iron oxide, and in fact I will likely need more, just based off of the amount that I know that I will need if I'm going to make ferrite, when I'm going to make ferrite, which that, for the 1 per second build, that needs another 8. Ugh. Yeah, it's muchness. Okay, I need 3 times as much on this. Why are you here? Why are you here? You should be... Why can't I flip a sinkhole? That doesn't make sense. I should be able to flip the sinkhole. That's 15 of these. Alright. Oh, that's not good. Blarg. Blargity. Blarg, 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 blarg. Cut the whole thing, move it up a tile. Cut that, move it up a tile. It's unfortunate. It doesn't do that on the other build because it's not... It doesn't happen to do it there, but as it scales, it does. Unfortunate. Okay, where's my tar? Tar line. Tar and ammonia. Whoops. And then the iron and the sulfuric acid. I should just say at rust, but whatever. Why, hello, Ollie. He's joined. He's here. Hi. Hi, big Ollie. Da-ba. Da-ba. Da baby. Yeah. Oh, he's rubbies. Yeah, Mr. Cat. Oh, he's rubbies. Yes, he's rubs. He wants rubs. He wants rubs and attention. He wants rubs and attention. Yes, he's all lovey-dovey. Yes, he's come up to be rubby-dubbies. Yeah, big boy. He wants to get on my lap. He's like, I'm cold, it's lap time. Okay, well, when I get urea. This should move. Okay, that's the tar. Here's the sulfuric. Oh. There you go. There's your sulfuric line. That doesn't need to go anywhere else. That just leaves 15 of you. I'm going to do 2 lines of 8. Now, the reason for that is it's going to be easy, like it's going to look nicer. It's going to be shorter on this step as well. I will be able to work with this a lot more easily, even though it is +1 building overall. It helps with the outputs being the nice even number. Can I stack it? Can I stack it? Yes, I can stack it. I shall stack it. Did I plan on it being stacked? Yes, I did plan on it being stacked on that request over there. So this is how it's going to be, so that it can get stacked very, very easily in this way. Just got to get the input shenaniganery set up, and then double it, and then we're good. And then we are, in fact, glorious. I'm going to unstack here my iron plates, even though I don't have to, because I won't. I'll not exactly know if I'm gonna scale this again here, or at least I want to have it be copy pastable without too many edits. Definitely, if I'm going to edit it, I'm going to make this into, like, at the very least, split it in half and have 2 lines of these, move this up a bit more, make it smaller. Maybe shift the whole thing up a little bit more so it fits more cleanly in here, and have multiple of these builds in here. Because I'm pretty sure that if I square this off, if I square it off and I shift it up a few tiles so that it fits in here, I could have at least 3 of this in here if I really needed it at the current levels, at the current mark levels. So bear in mind that that's actually just at the current mark levels, not even at upgraded levels, because I am going to be upgrading at some point. Yeah, that powers it. There's urea going in. So we're about to get the urea going. What's going on here? I shifted the whole thing up, and I didn't shift these two. That's it. That was the issue. But now I have to decontaminate one of the lines. There we go. That is all processing down this insanely long line. That's making urea and benzene, so that's nitrobenzene, which means that this should start making the stuffs right now. Supply, depot, full cargo, circuit condition. So it makes sense to call this iron oxide because it is actually the iron oxide, even though it colloquially rust. Because there are rusts of other things than iron. There are oxides of other metals that can be considered rusts of other metals. I think copper is the is another go-to when you think about it. You think of the green collar to copper. That's ish a rust. Yes, cat. I know we've got cat. We've got an Ollie. He's sitting. He's come to visit. He's come to visit. Yes, he's comfy. So hi, welcome. Here at the very end, but still. That is vanadium, by the way. That is the end for vanadium. We now will be able. It will craft once the iron oxide comes in for the final recipe here for this part at level 2. That will make the pulp 2. The pulp 2 has its ammonia already to process it into the pentoxide. So that is vanadium done, along with some iron oxide here, 30 per second of the stuff. I could just tell the thing to go, and it should go. I just need to define iron oxide. Where's the icon in this list? Where is it? I need to, learn this location without having to search. Iron oxide. I would think it'd be in this part of the list, but it doesn't look like it. Huh. Isn't urea stacked? Urea is getting unstacked at the factory location and not out of the train station. Isn't iron oxide supposed to be up here? Yes, because it is. Yeah, it gets unstacked here. Ta-da. Part of the copy-paste of the previous build. So yeah. Go over here, we see that this is on its way. It's here. Hello, train. You have arrived. The iron oxide unstacks itself. And here comes the iron oxide. It'll come on down. And this will move. So, Not Melon, you're here. If you haven't seen the beginning of the stream, I have mentioned it on the Discord that the basic Ziffo recipes are busted. Yeah, even after the update on the most recent PyAL patch that came out, it's still a net negative on the initial recipe pairs. So the very first Zippo adult production, as well as the larva production, those two recipes on the very first ones has cat left. Yeah, it's net negative. You need 1.66 repeating adults to make one adult. You are 2/3 of an adult short of break even by default. Now I have modified Zippo to return the adults on the larva stage, but even then I was not tempted to make these. They're just not in a good state. Just period. Full stop. Zippo are just not good. Even if they return the adults, I don't have a reason to do this. Particularly because blood meal eating up tons of creosote. I'm just not this. Yeah, that. If I had a better way to get creosote, it would be easier to make the blood meal, and I would be more inclined to go the blood meal route recipes for Zippo. This level of output for this number of ingredients through the use of returning the adults, as I have done here, would be something that's more reasonable. But creosote for blood meal makes it not at all interesting for me to do this, or doesn't make me interested in doing this. It's too much of a expense on this, even at 3.57 blood meal for this much arthropod blood. But 54 arthropod blood, that's making 1.2 vanadium. 1.2. So, yeah, my point is there should be no question in my mind as to what I should do to get arthropod blood at this point in the game. There should be no question that I should be doing Zippo. I should not have even been tempted to do the Zippier method of getting arthropod blood. It shouldn't have been tempting over Zippo. Because I would rather spend this than spend this. Anyway, that is vanadium. The vanadium should begin moving right about now. Cough, cough. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. Vanadium. Vanadium! It exists. We have some vanadium. There it goes. Oh god, the belts. Oh god, the 30 FPS. I'm like, that's so slow. It's moving so slow. Yes, it is moving so slow. Because we're at half speed. Near enough at this, like, it's because there's bots doing stuff. Yeah, this is the slowdown right now. This is the slowdown. All the restocking and the inventory script running for the infinite inventory mod. Yeah, that's it's a few bots restocking. So don't worry too much about performance. That explains everything. Oh boy. With vanadium, we now have the ability to make hydrogen peroxide. And with hydrogen peroxide, I will be able to then make lead acetate, which is part of this. It will be needed for plutonium peroxide. Oh boy, but it's also needed for etching solution. We need it for etching. We need etching for various aspects of making circuit 2s. Multiple ingredients require etching solution, not just PCBs, but also the doped silicons. All 3 of the doped silicons will need etching solution. And then if I look over here in chemical science, to make nuclear samples, I'm going to need, ooh, wouldn't you know it, I'm gonna need to double it again. Just to make the amount of nuclear samples I need to get a chemical science pack per second. So if I were to look at the total here, the totals, where's... So 23.23, oh joy. 23 plus 23 plus 34.73, so yeah. I would want to make 60. There's also ethanol in here that I didn't break down. Okay, that's just like molasses stuff. I'm not as concerned about this aspect of the build. Oh boy, yeah. So, you know, it's a bit more hydrogen peroxide than what I've just built that I will need ultimately, which means more vanadium, which means I hope they update it by the time we get there. Excuse me. Oh, well, that would help. Oops. Oopsies. I was like, gee, we're supposed to be producing more of the tailings dust than the acid gas that we need. We're supposed to be overproducing the dust, not the gas. With that, folks, we have reached the end of today's stream. What are we going to do next time? Next time we meet, I will make the hydrogen peroxide, and we will work on making etching solution out of that hydrogen peroxide, and then I suppose it's into silicon, the silicon chain, to get into the doped silicons. That's the next project. Yeah, I think that's going to be the next project, is going to be getting into the doped silicons. Which is going to need zinc acetate. I will need to make a zinc acetate factory. That should be separate from everything else. So yeah, we're going to work more various random things on the way to circuit 2s. So with that, I would like to thank you all for watching. This has been Otaku Shibut. If you have enjoyed today's stream, please be sure to do all of the social and engagement stuff down below the video. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you have not yet subscribed, and hit the notification bell. Consider becoming a member of the channel by hitting the great big blue join button and supporting on Patreon at patreon.com/otakushibut if you are so inclined and able. I will be back with more on Thursday. I hope to see you all then.